Welcome to the 20th bonus video in the 20 years of MCF celebration. I'm MCFPapa. On this day 20 years ago, November 18th, 2005, Mystery Case Files Huntsville was released, which founded this whole series. And for this final bonus video, I'm going to discuss where I predict the series goes in the next 20 years, as well as where I personally hope it will go. First, probably the most obvious prediction, I predict that MCF will still be around in some form 20 years from now. The casual hidden object puzzle adventure game genre isn't quite as popular as it once was, but MCF is the flagship brand of the whole genre. I really don't think that the whole hidden object game genre will be abandoned by 2045, but even if developers are pulling out and stopping making new entries, Mystery Case Files I feel will be the absolute last series that goes belly up. I predict that at least 3 more studios will handle developing entries for this series over the next 20 years. The largest one team has had the series was Big Fish Studios, who did it for 8 years. Then there's Grandma, which is at 6 years and counting. Then Epix had it for 5 years, and then Elephant had it for only 2. By the way, I'm counting the year they took to develop their first entry in these totals. So since there's already been so many dev teams that have worked on the series, it feels like a safe bet that the series will eventually get passed around to other teams down the road. Perhaps one of the teams that will eventually get to work on the series doesn't even exist right now in 2025 and will only come about later. You never know. Next, in the upcoming 2 decades, I predict that there will be at least 5 entries that are tied to Ravenhurst in some way. Considering that at a rate of 1 to 2 games per year, there will be 20 to 40 or so Mystery Case Files games made in the period, at least 5 of them being Ravenhurst adjacent is a very conservative prediction. In the first 20 years alone, there's been over double that number of games that have significant ties to Ravenhurst. Even if Angelica Morgan's storyline gets concluded, someone at some time will eventually decide to bring one of the Dalmars back for more entries. And yes, in this prediction for 5 Ravenhurst entries, the house that Love built is going to count for this total, because it's in the second 20 years of the series, not the first. Now for a more unfortunate prediction, I predict that there'll be at least 1 entry which significantly uses AI to generate its content. Grandma has already used AI to generate a few minor images in recent entries, but as it becomes more advanced and accessible in the years to come, then there will be many more attempts to use it in a more significant way. Maybe to AI generate all the locations, maybe to AI generate the hidden object scenes, maybe to AI generate character designs, or even use AI instead of real voice actors. This is more of an issue with society in general, and I absolutely hate that we've embraced AI so much, and I see it in more and more parts of everyday life. Even on YouTube in recent months, AI generated thumbnails have become so common. And seeing an AI thumbnail is an instant unsubscribe or don't recommend the channel for me. I wouldn't ever say my thumbnails are really high art or anything, but it does give me pride to know that I made them with my own 2 hands. But despite this negative prediction, I do have faith in humanity that eventually we will reject the mass-scale AI, and human-generated media will reign supreme in the long term, even if it does get rocky for several years. Time for another unfortunate prediction. More MCF games besides just Dire Grove will be rendered unplayable on modern PCs. By 2045, we'll probably be around Windows 15, and I guarantee that the Windows 15 devs are not gonna care about making sure decades-old games run on it and have proper compatibility. I'd say probably the classic and remaining golden era games are most likely to get left behind, but who knows, maybe even some of the later entries will stop working for some reason. And for the last of my predictions, I'm gonna go a bit more out there. I predict that at least one MCF game is gonna get a full-on remake. I'd say the three candidates most likely to get such a remake are Ravenhearst, due to Ravenhearst's popularity, Madame Fate, due to Madame Fate's popularity, and Dire Grove, due to it already being unplayable on modern PCs. Heck, I'm gonna double down on this prediction and say that the MCF games remake is gonna be a top-tier remake which faithfully preserves everything from the original, while also adding plenty of good new content to the game. And that's it for predictions, where I'm saying these things will definitely happen. Now for the second part of the video, I'm gonna share things that I hope happen in the series. Technically these are predictions too, but these are things that I think range from unlikely to having an infinitesimally small chance of happening. But I would absolutely love it if even one of these hopes came true. First off, I'd love to get another entry that utilizes live actors. They added so much more character and personality to the games, and it's much easier to connect with a fully real person than just some animated character. How hard could it be to even implement them? Just find a green sheet, hang it up on the wall, film the people with your phone, and then edit them into the scenes. Okay, I'm sure there probably is a few more factors than just that, but I would love to see live actors return. Next, I hope someday that MCF gets a new dedicated entry on a console. Right now, I'd say the Switch 2 is the most perfect for it, given how the Switch 2 has a built-in mouse functionality, so MCF games could work really well on it. But who knows what sort of consoles and peripherals may come out in the future. Even making a Mystery Case Files game in VR I think could work really well. Getting to physically explore the hidden object scenes and physically move puzzles around would add a whole extra layer of immersion to a game. Next, for the hope I think is most likely, which is that MCF gets more spin-off entries featuring other characters from the series. Not a lame Master Detective wannabe like Detective V, but someone who's an actual character from a past game. I think pretty much all the characters in the series could work well if they got a chance to be fleshed out and expanded in a new entry. For example, playing as a good character like Travis Cooter Landry or Cassandra Williams, or playing as a villain like Phineas Crown or Winston Malgrave. And even someone like Franco the Excessive could be an interesting protagonist if we got to learn about his home life being raised by Madame Fate and finally learning about his siblings. There's just so much potential for really good, or at least very interesting and unique spin-off games, and so I really hope we get to see some of them. And for my final hope, which is the most unlikely, it's that by 2045 MCF has broken out of being a niche series and becomes a massively popular franchise among the gaming community. If I want to talk with people about some franchises I love, like Batman Arkham or Hitman World of Assassination, I can easily do that because a ton of people know what those games are, or at least have heard of them. I can't really share MCF much with the world because most people's responses when I've tried have been, "You like a weird casual series like that?" Or, "What the heck even is that?" A Nintendo YouTuber who has several million subscribers might have maybe 0.01% of the total Nintendo fans in the world watching him. But me, with my 460 subscribers and counting, I probably have a significantly larger percentage of the total MCF fans in the world. And if MCF was considerably more popular than it is currently, then that would have a positive cascading effect that would probably also make some of the other hopes come true, because if MCF was a lot more popular, then Big Fish would be willing to invest a whole lot more in it. But what things do you think will happen in the next 20 years for this series? Feel free to share them in the comments below. If the series still is around, I'm still around, and I'm still doing YouTube videos by 2045, then I'll, fingers crossed, make a follow-up video then, reflecting on the accuracy of these predictions, and to celebrate 40 years of MCF, I'll make some new predictions and hopes for where MCF will be in 2065. But that's getting way too far ahead of myself for now. So I'll just say I hope you enjoyed all these bonus videos I made for this 20 years of MCF celebration. Like and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video.